Hello, prospective listeners and followers and watchers, if you're watching this as well. Welcome to Perspectives with
Lisette,
and Martina. I did you
you
first.
did it.
Did that. I just thought about that. I improvised. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the podcast. We are back. And I'm trying to think, do I have anything relevant to say before we get into what we're going to talk about today? Not that I don't have anything, but is it applicable to what we're going to talk about today? I don't think so. I don't think so. I really, I would say, you know what, I'll set this premise up because I don't want people to be like, what are they going to talk about? So in a previous video, Lisette and I have been talking about the weight loss controversies that are happening. I guess you could say controversy. I feel like it kind of is.
Some people make it a controversy.
Some people, yes. Some people have made this a controversial thing around these different weight loss drugs. And both her and I are on two different drugs.
Medications. Drugs makes it sound like.
I say that because like we are we can't, this is not that platform. They have other platforms for that, I'm assuming. But this one is when we say drugs. In this instance, we're talking about prescription medication that we have gotten from our doctors. Yes. So we are both on prescription medication. She's on one and I'm on a different one, but there are, I think, a number of them out there now.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that they've been out there. It's just now they're being pushed into the mainstream. And so in that last video, we talked about, we had really got in the weeds of things because I think last time we were actually like prepping for the recording and we were just like Googling and searching for stuff. And we were like, okay, I think we just need to talk. We just need to get into it. And so we spent time looking at, the history of like insurance, because that's where our mind took us. We were like, how did we even because I think a lot of what's happening with this medication and with other medications is that pharmaceuticals and insurance companies dictate a lot of different things. As we were talking about price point, some of these are just expensive out your ass and people not being able to afford it and they need it. And that kind of led us down the road of like insurance and how they're just way involved. And, we did a little timeline to talk about insurance in the United States. And so, but this video, we wanted to spend some, moment talking about our journeys as we have been on it. And I'm going to kick it over to Lisette because she started her journey before I did. So she has a little bit more. She's been giving me some guidance. She's just telling me over here, Martina, you got to eat.
Eat.
And we'll get into that because you'll be like, Martina, why you ain't eating? Like, what's going on? I mean, I like to eat. That's why we're talking about the drug. Yes. That is a prescription medication. So that's not the problem with that. But I will turn it over to my lovely co-host to get us started.
Yeah, I think as I shared, like I got on it because with type 2 diabetes sort of in my surrounding. And I had been taking, the traditional medicine, for it to kind of get under control and all of that. And it just wasn't working. Some of it I couldn't tolerate. Some of it was just the timing of the medication, like, because it was at one point I was taking two of them. And one of them I had to take like early in the morning and the other one with a meal. It was too much, like for a working individual, anybody, like it became a lot. So trying to get that under control was interesting. Probably a whole other video from that when it comes to medication you got to take and then timing it and all of that. But when it came to sort of having the conversation with my doctor, actually somebody else that we both know had been taking the medication I'm on now, the injectable medication. They had been taking it, I think when it initially came out, because the one I'm on came out like last year, like officially out and all of that. So they were taking it and, I saw them and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? Because, they had lost some weight and they just, and they were telling me like, hey, like, yeah, like, I'm taking this medication. I'm trying to get my blood sugar under control. And I was like, yo, why didn't you tell me? Because I'm over here trying to do the exact same thing. Which again, a lot of us don't talk about our health issues with each other, and we never, and I think that's just part of, culture, or just, whether it's shame or whatever that might be attached with it. So, they told me about it, she told me about it, and I was like, all right. But the thing was, insurance aren't really covering this medication. The one I'm on, I'll say it, I'm on Mounjaro. So it's the new kid on the block, apparently. And so insurance aren't really covering it. And if they cover it, they cover it if you've already tried all these other ones and all this stuff, and you have to go through like this trial and error thing. And it's like, well, you have to try at least 3 of them. If they don't work for you, then maybe we'll cover this one. It's a whole thing. But thankfully, the company that actually manufactures Mounjaro had a coupon, a savings card. So I got the savings card. I got it just in time before they changed the thing. So able to get it for very low cost.
Yeah.
Without its issues though, because as Martina knows,
There's every time is something.
every month.
Jesus Christ, just give the medicine. My goodness.
Maybe I'll get into some more of those issues too, because it's quite a lot, as Martina has mentioned. So I started taking the medication officially in November. And it was one of those things I didn't know what to expect outside of what, had been shared with me, what my doctor had said. And even getting the medication was like a hassle the first time around, because they sent it for prior authorization. Obviously, insurance denied it, and then the pharmacy didn't know how to run the savings card. It's this whole thing. So finally got it. And I remember like the first day I injected myself, I was like, well, how soon will I feel the side effects or like whatever it's supposed to do? Same day. Because what the medication does, I know Martina has experienced, it does suppress your appetite. That's one of the side effects. Like that's just what it does. And I remember I went and sat down to eat dinner, and I was just a couple bites in and I was done.
Eating like a bird.
I remember my parents were like, "You're done?" I was like, I feel so full. Like I was like, this is weird. And that's how it went. Like, I remember the first couple weeks, and we ended up going to Vegas in November.
That's right. Yes.
And that was an interesting experience, to go to Vegas and not eat the way that you like.
You did better than I thought you would. I was like, Lord, we're gonna be trying to go out to eat, and she's just gonna be over here drinking water. Lord have mercy.
But a part of what a lot of people have said, and what a lot of people kind of perpetuate with this medication, is like, you have to at least eat small meals. Like you have to eat, because if not, your body will go into survival mode. And and either like, if you're using it to lose weight, then it'll be harder. And I think that's where the controversy comes in with these medications, is they're designed or were developed for type 2 diabetes, but because they have this amazing side effect, it is also used for weight loss. And yeah, I mean, I remember I can't even tell you, November 2nd was the first day that I took the medication. And I remember November 22nd, I ended up going to my doctor. And I didn't know what to expect. I didn't have like a scale at home, so I didn't know if I had lost any weight. I didn't feel like I had lost any weight. I hadn't, felt that way. The only thing I did notice was that I was sleeping better.
Right.
That I just felt better. Like I felt like things were under control in my body. And if you've never really had blood sugar issues, um you may not understand it, but if you have, you understand that sometimes, you know, you just feel like there's something wrong with your body. And I just felt like that was better. And I think I shared it at one of our last videos. Was went to my doctor. um I remember I weighed myself and I was like, I don't want to see, like, you know, you never want to see the weight.
I'm gonna ruin it. I'm gonna ruin it.
And then, you know, and I remember looking at the scale and I was like, well, how much was it? Well, because I looked down and the number was gone. So I was like, I didn't know at the beginning, like, how much I'd lost. So the doctor came in and she's like, you've lost 11 pounds. And I was like,
That's it. Yes.
what? I was like, she's like, you lost 11 pounds? Like, how do you feel? I was like, I don't know how I feel. But then they took my blood and they're like, you know, your fasting sugar is great. They're like, but your A1C went down.
Mhm.
Like, you were, you know, you were in the double digits and you went down 2 points. I was like, and that's what I think I shared in the other video was, the other episode that surprised my doctor. She's like, that was amazing. You know, that's
I don't think she had
amazing.
ever really seen it happen that quickly.
Yeah, she was like, she's like, you could just like the shock that she was just kind of
Right.
processing around it. And I remember they checked my blood pressure, and my blood pressure was one of the best in-office blood pressures I've ever had. Then, you know, I've gone in, and it was just this medication. I was like, I haven't done anything different,
Right.
right? Other than, you know, take the medication, and maybe my meals have been smaller and I've been more conscious of what I'm
Well, I
eating.
was gonna say you have done stuff different though because of the medicine. Yeah.
Yeah, but it at the moment, like, it didn't sort of register
Was
because it
yeah,
was
okay.
just, you know, like, in that moment. But I think looking back now, and just from November till now, and as we're recording this, we're in February.
Yeah.
So I've been on it for a couple months. And yeah, like, definitely one of the things that I've noticed, was, and I don't know if others who are overweight have experienced this kind of thing that I've heard people describe as food noise, where sometimes it's all you kind of think about. Like, you're already thinking about it's breakfast and you're already thinking what you're gonna have for a snack or lunch or dinner. Like, your brain's already kind of like looking to the next
I
meal.
used to be that way.
And all of that, like, it's gone.
I
Like,
agree with
it's
that.
not there anymore. And I remember who I shared, I don't know if it was with you, or somebody was like, how freeing it is to not have that.
Think about food, right? You know, that is
So
yeah.
it's like, you know, you don't, and again, like, this is why, like, if you've never struggled with food, I mean, I don't think just obesity, but with food in general, like, because, you know, it's not just obese individuals who struggle with food and things like that. But when you don't have that, you're able, like, I've been able to just make better choices, you know. And I think, when I think of the controversy that
Mhm.
surrounds, you know, these medications, I'm like, you know, it isn't taking from someone who has type 2 diabetes. It's, dude, we have to prevent diseases as well. So if you are pre-diabetic, if you do, I mean, I've seen women who have shared that their PCOS has just gotten better. Like, they've been feeling better, they've been able to lose the weight that they have never been able to lose because of PCOS, and this medication has helped them. It's, you know, because, you know, one of the things with PCOS is insulin resistance, and so it's like all these things. And so I'm like, get the medication if you can, if you need it, because it's helpful for type 2 diabetics. But I see it through a lens of prevention, right? Because, I mean, when people don't think about obesity as a chronic disease, um, and it's just like a behavioral problem, which I think we shared at the last episode, was something that we read, about it, you know. But, you know, that's been my journey. And I mean, I'm happy to say today, well, this week that we're recording, I mean, I'm down a total of 47 pounds.
I know that's like miraculous.
And I just feel good. And to me, it's not just the pounds, but it's really just, I mean, I was
Feeling
feeling
better.
crap.
Feel
Like, I
better.
was, like, and I didn't tell anything to anybody because I was like, there's not, it's me. Like, I have to figure out how, so I never really shared anything, just, went with my daily life. But I was like, but, this medication has been just great to kind of have as something to help in this health journey that a lot of us are on. But that's me. That's my little journey, a little quick synopsis. But I know you recently
My
got.
journey has not been that journey. I would say, but I have only recently just started. I may have been on it maybe a month now because, and I'll say, I have the big boy. I have Ozempic. That is the
You
one
have the one that's all over the
that's
news.
all over the place, And even my doctor, when she first recommended it, she was like, "I'm not even sure you're gonna be able to get it because it's on back order." Like because of
Yeah.
all this that's going on. But I think I had gotten my prescription because, well, similar to you, back up a little bit. Like I've had, trying to get my, levels under control as well. And in the past, I had been on metformin. I think that's how you pronounce it. And that was
Metformin?
metformin. I can't say. I'm from the South. Metformin. Metformin.
Metformin, I think is what you're trying.
Metformin. I don't like that. I'm gonna say it my way.
But I like your way better.
Metformin.
I like that better.
And I was doing one in the morning, one at night. But you have to eat with that. And I know a lot of medication is that way you have to eat with it, which I mean, people listening may be like, well, you like to eat anyway. Why is it a problem? But it can be. Yeah, because I may not even before. I may not always be hungry then.
Yeah.
But with metformin, I was on that probably not quite a year, and I had lost 30 pounds, and I've been able to maintain that since then. And so, but still, I was like, my doctor was like, well, if you want to continue to get your weight under control, and just, similar to what you've said on here, diet and exercise is just not,
It wasn't for me. It wasn't helping.
It wasn't exactly helping me either. And I think, we've also said on here, women diet and exercise, a lot of them do it every day. And you may be doing it for 2 months and have only lost like 3 pounds.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's harder.
It's hard.
It's hard overall. And it's more difficult for women. And so, my doctor, and I think because you were telling me about your journey and the other person that you mentioned that was also on it. And I mentioned it to my doctor. I was like, would this be an option? And that same day, she was like, she had wrote the prescription out and she was like, let's see if we can get it. Because again, she was worried about the shortage, but it was amazing. Like the pharmacy I was able to get it. And I gotten it before the holidays. And, I was telling you.
Yes, you were.
I was so, because listen, I love the holidays and I do love to eat, I will say. And I think like most people during the holidays, you probably eat more than you normally do throughout the year. Yeah. And that's, I think the same can be said for me. And I love to indulge in all the things of the holiday season. And that includes all the foods. And I was like, girl, I ain't trying to be over here eating like a bird like you doing. I want to enjoy, I want to eat. I want to eat. And you were like, Martina, it's not really like that. You were like, you can still eat, just eat less. And I was like, I guess. I was like, I'll wait till after the holidays. Well, I'm waiting. And so I think I started maybe the first or second week in January. And it's fine. I think, I will say because Ozempic is probably everybody knows, it's also one of the injectable ones. Mm-hmm. I hate needles. So this is why we say I'm very anti-drug. I can't do, but I know all drugs are not needles, but I'm just saying, I hate needles. And I had a friend once tell me, she's like, Martina, she's like, everybody should hate needles. She was like, I'll be worried if you likes needles. And I was like, that is true. A really good point. But I have this fear of needles. Like even when I get blood drawn, I have to look away. Like when I was younger, I mean, my dad would have to come in the room with me when they would draw blood because I just never liked needles. And so because these medicines are injectables, it's a little needle, but it really freaks me out because I have to inject myself. So that always kind of throws me off. It throws me off.
I agree with you. I agree because every week, every day of the week where I always mentally prepare. I even look at the instructions again.
Every
Like,
time
I've been doing this for a couple months.
Every time.
So I feel you on that one. It's definitely still like this mental struggle game that I go through every week.
I think even when I was telling you the first time I did, I was like, I don't know if I did it right. I was like, I don't know. And I think I've kind of gotten past, maybe I'm doing it right. It just still kind of really freaks me out because I was like, well, there's no liquid running, so I guess it's in my body. Okay.
It's running in your body.
It's in my body. And I've been learning things from you because I had this is my first, well, it was your first time too, but you've been learning. And you've been helping me with things, but I would say probably since I've been on Ozempic, probably only lost like 5 or 6 pounds, which I guess is fine. I guess he's fine if you think about from where I started, which is probably that second week in January. And again, we're filming this and we're almost to mid-February at this point. So it's about like a month, give or take, maybe. And I guess, yes, I'll take that. But Lucetta's over here losing like 400 pounds and she'll even weigh that. And I was like, well, damn.
Can you imagine?
But
I disappear.
You wouldn't be here. You just be an atom. You go back to being an atom, a little molecule. But again, you don't have to think everybody's body's different. Everybody's different. Everybody's metabolism's different. And you're on a completely different medication than I am. So, it's different. So, I'll take it. I'll be like, not like it's not working per se, but I will say since for me, as I mentioned jokingly, like I'm just not hungry. And that's really kind of a big thing. And I would say I haven't seen so much of the improvements as like better sleep. And I have felt more energized, I would say. And I don't always think about, like, I used to be like, okay, it's breakfast. What am I gonna have for dinner tonight? What's that gonna be? I don't. I don't. And again, it goes back to like, I'm really just not hungry. And I talk to my dad almost every day on the phone. And my dad is diabetic. He's been diabetic for years now. And so he knows the whole thing. And, he's always like, you got to eat. He was like, what'd you eat today? Be like, I haven't eaten today. He'd be like, we get off the phone right now. You got to go get something to eat. And that's what I'm definitely saying, like at the beginning, Lisette was like, you got to eat, because I think I was like, a part of me, I was like, well, I'm not losing as much. But then, you were like, your body's going into survival mode, Martina, because if you're not even eating, because obviously, like, I'm always like, if you're not hungry, don't eat. But you can't go a whole day. You got to eat something, And you recently had told me that, and you were giving me feedback about like protein bars and different things I can do to assist with that. Because I'm like, literally, I can go the whole day until like dinner time.
It is. I'll share this story. I remember I was on a road trip, and I was on the road trip with the individual who was also on the same medication, and their family. And I remember we stopped for breakfast, and her and I actually just shared like a meal because we knew we were gonna eat a whole thing. And then we got in the car, and she was driving, I was in the passenger side, and her husband and kid were in the back. And then we got on the road straight to where we were going. And then I didn't think about food, and breakfast was like at 9, so we left probably around 10 or something. And we went straight to Oklahoma where we were going, and we got there like maybe 4 or 5. Food did not cross our minds at all. It wasn't until we arrived that I remember turning back to individuals like, are y'all hungry?
Right, like you haven't eaten anything else.
Because they had just been munching. They had been eating all the snacks.
Yes.
I probably had like a protein bar. The only reason I had it because the person was like, hey, here's a protein bar. But But yeah, like you could go all day,
You go all day.
which is a whole other thing for me to kind of experience, because before I wouldn't go all day without eating.
Yeah, we gotta eat something.
Food was on my mind. Like I was like, okay, what am I having for lunch? What am I gonna snack on? What can I snack on?
And you know, since you mentioned, I will say what I've noticed since, and again, some days are better than other days where I can like think to eat something. But if I can't, I've got like this sugar-free applesauce and
Mm,
like sugar-free jello that I can just grab because I was like,
yeah,
it's something I can like put in my stomach until I get through the end of the day, because again, I'm not hungry, but I'm like, hey, I eat something, say I ate something. But it's very different. And, you know, I was again jokingly saying this before we started recording that, you know, I would go into my kitchen at night and, you know, trying to think about what I want to have for dinner because I hadn't thought about it. And I'm literally opening the cabinet door and the refrigerator. And I'm like, I don't want any of this. I am just not hungry. Like,
yeah,
I'm like, what am I going to eat? It's just kind of like, I don't know. It's just I don't even know what I want to eat sometime because I'm not hungry. So again, going back to I have to remember to eat something. And so I was, you know, this weekend actually, I'm going to get me some proteins shakes that Lisette recommended. I'm gonna get me
yeah.
some because you also do those hydration packets.
Yeah.
You put in your water.
Because I don't know if it's happened to you. Like I also don't get very thirsty a lot of the time because I'll get really full drinking water. Like if I was to drink a bottle of water, I'd be full like that.
Okay,
Um, so I don't know if that has. So I know that I have to like
stay hydrated.
supplement that too. Like I need to. I'm
Oh, yeah.
like,
I'm pretty good with water. Like I drink a lot of water. It's just I have tried because I think one thing, you know, that being on this journey before I got on this medication,
yeah,
probably when I was around taking metformin, my doctor was, you know, she basically told me like all the things, you know, you just got to cut out, you know. She's like, even though you're not doing like Coca-Cola, you Diet Coke is not great either. You like if you're doing orange juice, juices are bad. She's
oh,
like,
just
juices are
garbage.
just bad.
Just eat the people say eat the fruit.
Eat
Like
the fruit. Just eat the fruit, you know?
yeah,
And even then, like certain fruits, like pineapple, super sweet, you know, like you got, I mean, if you do have diabetes, you got to watch that.
yeah,
She's like, it's best to actually eat berries, blueberries, raspberries. Those are much, she's like, you can eat as many of those you want all day and you'll be fine. And
yeah.
so about like the beverage intake, because I love Diet Coke and even what's the other one? The Coke Zero. Every now
Oh,
and
I
then I have
love
this
Coke Zero.
Coke Zero, and you know what, Coke Zero, whatever Coca-Cola did, they
Oh
like
yes,
they did something with that formula because there was the
yes.
old Coke Zero that did not taste like this one.
Mm-mm.
So whatever they did this time around, that Coke Zero is delicious. It is
We're not
delicious.
sponsored by them.
We ain't
And
talking about Coke, but Coke, listen, we can talk about a protein Coke if y'all want to get with it. We can
yeah,
talk about that.
add some protein into that
Protein
Coke Zero.
into that Coke Zero, and you know, but it is delicious. And so,
Yes.
but she was like, you got to cut that out. And so I just started going to water, sparkling water. I got really
Yeah.
into sparkling water. I love sparkling water. I've tried a shit ton. I'm still trying sparkling water. We have a favorite sparkling water that we like.
Oh, we're not sharing it.
We ain't sharing who that is because it's not going to be sold out because we already have told too many people and we can't tell nobody else. I'm sorry. Like we love y'all. One day,
The last few times we've been to where we buy the sparkling
sold
water,
out.
it's not there.
Sold out. Right. It's not even there. But one
Yeah.
day we'll tell you it's delicious and it's really gonna change your life. It will change your life. And it's one of the
It's
best
so good.
decisions
Now,
we've ever
now my
made.
mouth is watering. I'm just gonna drink my little still water over here.
I know, I'm just have my little filtered tap water. It's fine. Um, but so I've really gotten the sparkling water. And so that's like water for me. It's not I drink water all day
Yeah.
long and I'm, you know, pissed like a racehorse sometimes. That's what it is. Um, but it's better than, you know, the juice. Cause I mean, I was the one, even now, like I every now and then I'll buy like what is it, like the 0 calorie juice or something?
Yeah, there's like
it's not really just something like that, but it's still, you know, juice. I'll buy that every now and then I'll get a soda every now and then, but I don't need it. Like I find myself like I can just like literally I will drink sparkling water like all day, every day. Like literally on my work calls, I've had my coworkers like, Martina, what's the deal? Like, what's this sparkling water today? Because it's a new one, you know, because I'm just like, I have to have something that I'm drinking all day. So if I can just remember to eat something, I think I'll be doing okay. But I think, yeah, that's, you know, the biggest thing for me is right now is just being able to eat, or I can't eat, but eating something. Because I mean, I still take other medication at night that requires I have to eat something. Like you don't want to take that on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
So it's always something, even if, you know, sometimes I don't think Lisette's gonna like this, but I've just had a few crackers. A few crackers because I had to put something in my stomach to take the medicine. Because I'm literally like, I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
I'm not hungry.
I mean, I have shared that I live with my parents, so my mom will be cooking. So there's usually a meal, and it's usually timed because she's cooking for my dad. So I will say it's been a little easier on my end to just remember, like, oh, food, it smells like
Smell
food.
it. Yes, your mom's
Let
cooking.
me go. Maybe it's time for me to go eat. But you know, I think it has, I mean, it's just a side effect of this medication. And I think when I think about the controversy, and I think when we come back for our next episode, we'll get more into what the controversy is, and like even just getting the medication. I can share a little bit more of the struggle that comes with this medication around it. But you know, my question, and because I, you know, on TikTok, I follow a few people and they pop up on my FYP, you know, who are taking the medication solely for weight loss, you know, who are taking it for weight loss, but they also have, underlying
Right.
conditions, which is either PCOS, they're insulin resistant, they you know, their blood pressure might be high, their BM, like all these different things. But there's so much backlash to it that sometimes I'll see in the comments, and people are like, oh, you're taking away medication from people who have type 2 diabetes, and nobody's taking a medication away from you. I'd understand if it was the only medication that existed
Right.
to help control your type 2. It's not. I'm fully aware of it, but it's not. So I think there's this whole idea, and it goes back to what we've shared in the past, this idea that fat people don't deserve to like have help,
Right.
have a little bit of an assistance. Like you have to put your time in the gym, you have to suffer through like eating and stuff. And it's like, you know what, there's men and women and others who have struggled with going the traditional route and have not lost the weight. Like it's not as easy, it's not as black and white. Like it's not that simple when it comes to weight loss. There's so many different factors, but again, people try to put people into this box that people should fit into how people should lose weight, and there's only a certain way that you can do it. And and it's proof, like even your journey, Martina, completely different from mine, and sort of, but the results and how we're getting there are happening. Like they're moving along, and you're learning as we go. And I think when we come back for the next episode, we'll continue sharing that. But we really just wanted to take some time and share why this particular topic is actually really important to the both of us, why we opted to do this kind of series. I'm sure there's going to be something that we revisit throughout the year and have other people, but we really just wanted to share about a little bit about the journey that we both kind of started. I mean, November wasn't that long ago for me, and January was just right around the corner for you. So we just wanted to take some time share a little bit background as to why we went in gung-ho into this topic,
Yes.
and how it's really personal for the both of us.
No, it's very for
You
these
know,
two introverts.
yeah, to share. And there's vulnerability here. Like, we wanted to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
There's
My
we
therapist would be very proud of me for being open.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's so many other people who are in the same journey as we are, and going in either the struggle or just having to do it. And um the role that pharmaceutical companies and insurance companies and all of that play into that. But yeah, I'll kind of see if you have any final thoughts, Martina, before we kind of close out.
Was to fat people out there, you feel damned if you do, damned if you don't, you know. But that's okay. That's okay. Because I think, you know, hopefully, I would say we can't wait for the world to catch up and, you know, understand things. And I think, there are people out here, like we're saying, that really trying to prevent these, different issues and illnesses and chronic illnesses that fat people get so much slack for, from all different ways, like from doctors and from friends and family, even in ways that people may not even realize. Like we were talking about just going shopping. We got to go
Yeah.
look at the purses because we can't fit in these little boutique stores, like things like that. And, so I think I want to say people who are on this journey, you are not alone. And, I know it's easier said than done, but to stay strong. And I think I really applaud people. Again, I know that people taking this for who are diabetic, but people who, again, who are overweight or obese and just really trying to better themselves and, be healthy, like not for society, for themselves. Maybe, they want to live longer. Maybe they have kids. They want to be here for their kids. Maybe they have shit they want to do, and they trying to better themselves. So I think, the world needs to cut some slack. And that's all I got to say for now.
And I got nothing to add to that. That was perfect, Martina. I think you summed up everything that I had in my mind too. But so thank you for listening, for watching. We appreciate your support. And if you are someone that is in this journey, please, feel free to comment, feel free to reach out to us. You want to comment, you can reach out to us on Instagram, on Facebook. So make sure you're following us there. If you are following us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe so you know when our videos go live. Make sure you like us on Spotify or Apple, all of those. But we really appreciate you all listening to this very personal topic for us, for perspectives. And we will see you and talk to you next time.
Bye.